Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our installment of Scott Selections here for Wednesday, December 29th. For you in today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened. We ended up picking up a loss in baseball with the Red Sox team total over 5.5 runs at minus 120 on BetMGM. 3 hits. You really only got 3 hits against the Orioles. That's just pathetic, Boston. But yeah, it wasn't really that close. 2 solo home runs, so they ended up getting on the board. But when Zimmerman goes 3-4 like I thought he would, and you get 5 innings of Baltimore's bullpen to deal with, and you barely get a base runner, that's a problem. And if Boston ends up missing out in the playoffs, remember this game because Boston lost outright as about a minus 280 favorite. Not exactly ideal. So anyway, I picked up a loss. Look for a bounce back winner here on Wednesday. However, didn't really like anything on the Wednesday card. Not really in the mood to bet on baseball. So we're going to be looking at a 2-team teaser in the NFL over the next few days. But unlike the previous teaser we gave out, which ended up winning last Sunday, this will involve the Thursday night game. So you don't have to wait that long to get the teaser underway. But it's still going to be a pretty solid opportunity to take this line early before you see some lines potentially shift over the next few days. But starting with the first pick in this 2-team teaser is going to be on the Bengals. And of course, the Bengals are favored minus 7.5 right now at home against the Jaguars on Thursday night. We're going to tease that down in a 6-point teaser to minus 1.5. Couple reasons why I like the Bengals in this spot. First of all, the Bengals actually have something, and the fans have something that they haven't had in a long time, which is hope. Because this Bengals team is not totally awful. Now, is this a great team? Not really. I think the jury's still out on that. I think they're pretty decent. But the point is that this team might be a playoff team. It might not be a playoff team, but they're still 2-1, beat the Steelers last week. And I do think that this Bengals team is significantly better than Jacksonville. And on a short week, traveling back to home, I think Cincinnati brings it. And I think Jacksonville's going to struggle. Now, Jacksonville, you look through all 3 of their games, they've lost by double digits every single time. Now, the Arizona game was pretty close for about 2.5 quarters. You also had the 109-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown, which definitely helped out the scoring there. But you're looking at the offense. Lawrence has been terrible. Really, Urban Meyers looked awful. There's really nothing else to say. I faded them last week in the teaser because I took Arizona, and nothing really changed my thoughts. Lawrence, we know, is going to throw an interception or two because he's really either trying to see what he can get away with or just making really dumb decisions. But he's been very turnover prone, and I do think that Cincinnati with Burrow and company should be able to have a lot more quality scoring chances throughout this game because Jacksonville's defense isn't really that good, and you can make a serious argument, which is kind of an insult for Jacksonville, that its best player is its kick returner because Agnew has 2 touchdowns already. Kick return touchdown 2 weeks ago, missed field goal return touchdown last week. I don't think anybody else has really done anything for this team. So Jacksonville, at the end of the day, I'm going to fade them because they're, in my opinion, either the worst team or the second worst team in the league. I'll take the Bengals getting the job done. Urban Meyer's been so bad with a full week of preparation. I can only imagine how bad he's going to be with less than a full week of preparation for Thursday night. Give me the Bengals there. I think they'll win by at least 3 points. But that line of 1.5 is very nice, so I'm going to take that before it moves potentially to -8, which would cause the teaser line to move. But anyway, looking at the second game, this game's going to be on Sunday. It's going to be between the Titans and the Jets. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this one. I am teasing the Titans down from -7.5 to -1.5. And that 2-pick teaser is going to pay out at -120 on Bet Online. Time recording of 1:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, a couple reasons why I like the Titans against the Jets. Kind of similar to why I roasted the Jaguars is because I said the Jaguars might be the worst team. The other contender is the Jets because that team is absolutely terrible. The Jets have lost each of their first 3 games, lost to Carolina by 5 in week 1. They were down double digits for most of the game before scoring a touchdown with about 2 minutes left to make the score at the end closer. But the other 2 games got killed by New England 25-6 and then got killed by Denver last week 26-0. So the Jets have been outscored in their last 2 games combined by the score of 51-6. They have scored 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games combined. And Tennessee, we know that the week 1 performance against Arizona was embarrassing, but Tennessee has responded quite well. Beat Seattle in that impressive road game, 33-30 in overtime, and then beat the Colts last week at home, 25-16. Now, the Jets offense averaging 6.7 points per game. We know Wilson has really struggled. He's already thrown 7 interceptions. The passing game can't really get anything going. The running game can't get anything going. It's really just hideous for the Jets. And the defense has been okay, but they're still missing a bunch of guys who got injured earlier this season, so they're still shorthanded. Meanwhile, Tennessee's defense isn't great by any means, but it did hold the Colts to just 16 points because of some really stout red zone defense. And I do think if you're going to be facing off against any anemic offense like the Jets, your defense should be decent enough to limit them to around, I'd say, 14 to 17 points. But the question that you really have to ask is, do I think the Jets are good enough defensively to limit the Titans to less than 21 points in this game? The answer is no. And then the argument that you can make in response, do you think that the Titans will be able to limit the Jets to less than 3 touchdowns? And the answer to me is yes, because the Jets have 2 touchdowns on the entire season combined. I think the Titans should be able to win this game pretty easily. I know A.J. Brown will most likely not be playing because he injured hamstring last week. You still got Derrick Henry. You still got Julio Jones. You still got Ryan Tannehill. I think this team's good enough to get the job done. And I know it sounds obvious to fade the worst 2 teams in the league, but it is pretty obvious. And if they're going to keep making you money doing it, then I'm going to keep doing it. So once again, the 2-pick teaser here for the NFL. The 6-point teaser is going to be on the Bengals -1.5 and the Titans -1.5, and that pays out at -120 on Bet Online. Bye, everyone.